Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about writing books, how you can write your book. Especially I want to touch topics about reading books as well because it's my passion. I don't write books, but I have the goal to write the book in one day. So I'm so excited to learn more about that with Ben. How are you?
I'm really well, Anatoly. Thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I remember when you spoke first time on my podcast, I've learned a lot from you because I think for me writing a book, it's the new level for me, because I love writing. I usually write a lot, blog posts, social media posts, anything, But yeah, I have this goal, not today because many other things. I need to do, but yeah, it's the goal. Can you tell before we start, just remind about yourself, background, experience, and why you decided to tell more about writing books.
Yeah, thank you so much. Gosh, yeah, writing my second book really changed my life. So the first book, of course,
Hmm.
got me started, but it was the second book where I had this opportunity to speak at Stanford University in the United States. And it was a very big opportunity in my business at that point. And I signed the contract, and then I said to the event planner, I said, "Hey, I'd love to show up with brand new copies of my new book for everyone in the audience because I want to add value and make it really special for them." And she said,
Nice.
"That's wonderful." We hung up the phone or we got off the conference, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to write that second book right now." And I only had about 3 weeks to do it. So I
Hmm.
wrote the second book, and it turned into all sorts of successes. Speaking in Sydney, Australia, the event planning company hiring more times, and then working with a Fortune 100 company to create a mindfulness and empathy video game for like 20,000 people. Like they had asked me to write the curriculum, and all of that happened because of my book. And a lot of that happened even before I finished writing the book.
Mhm. 3 weeks, yeah, especially, I don't like having such deadlines, to complete the job for 3 weeks because when it takes a long time, I know that authors spend like 6 months, an year to write just one book. Can you tell how to do it for a short period of time, like 3 weeks, to write an awesome book?
Yeah, thank you very much. So 3 weeks was definitely out of necessity, and what I do these days is I actually teach people how to write it in as little as 5 weeks, right?
Hmm.
So as little as 5 weeks, and it can be more, really based on your schedule and what works best for you. Because I say to people, even if you can only do it for an hour a week, right? Following my process, you can have it done in 5 months, which is about 87% faster than anybody else, unless maybe you get it ghostwritten. So what I
Hmm.
like to say as far as, you know, really being able to not only do it fast, but you want to make sure that the quality is there, right? Because so many
Hmm.
people, they write a fast book and they put it up on Amazon and it's terrible, right? It's just like you can
Hmm.
tell that it's, I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but just you see that there's not a deeper level of quality or thoughtfulness or heart in the book,
Hmm.
right? So for me, first and foremost, understand who your audience is, right?
Hmm.
And we hear that over and over for business, for marketing, right? Know your audience, know your client, that kind of thing. That's absolutely true, and especially in the context of your book, right? Because you and I, people like us who are experts in whatever we're experts in, we could write 5, 10, 20, 40 books, right? Like we know so many
Yeah.
things, we have so much experience. So the most important question is, what book needs to be written right now for our best audience, right? For our ideal clients. Because when we have that understanding, that gives us some boundaries and some focus to be able to write a book much more quickly. Because when you know who it's for, you know what they need, you know why they want it, you know the stories to tell, and you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, should this go there, should this go there. It's like, no, just double check, this is my audience, this is what they need, this is what the book's about.
Love it, love it. Can you tell about writing style? For example, I think that PhD with awesome experience can't write a book for kids who play online games if this person doesn't play online games. I think you need to have this experience. Can you tell more about writing style? For example, if I know my target audience, how I need to adapt my writing style to a specific audience?
Yeah, thank you. So part of the, and this is a really great question. I appreciate it because there are a few levels here, right? So we're going to come back to the first point again, right? Knowing the audience, right? Using
Mm-hmm.
their words, using the phrases that they use in your writing. That's so much of it, right? Because when somebody else, if you heard me say the exact words or very similar words, that are bouncing around in your head around a problem or a challenge that you might have, right? Like you would think that I would know the answer or I could at least help you find the solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for writing style, first and foremost, know your audience because you'll see the words, the phrases that they're using to talk about their challenges, their goals, their fears, their dreams, all that kind of stuff, right? And then the second part, and I work with quite a few PhDs, right? And they've written their thesis, many, many pages, many thousands of words, and it can be very difficult sometimes to translate that into a book that is not a thesis, right? That is not a heavy, heavily informational, heavily educational book. So for me, what I recommend is a lot of dictation for creating content of the book, because when
Mm-hmm.
we speak, right, we're essentially teaching, we're essentially sharing our expertise, we're using our voice literally, and that voice gets translated onto paper or onto digital, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that there's such a beautiful, beautiful gift of being able to connect with your authentic voice by speaking it. It doesn't have to be every single part of the book, right? I wouldn't recommend that, but a big part of it, because very often people they will try to write. They will try
Mm-hmm.
to write a good sentence. They will try to pick the right word, right? They will do all these kinds of things. And it's like, wait a minute, stop trying. Just teach what you're good at, teach what you love, and the words come through beautifully, easily, and in his lit in his in. Let me try that again. In 7 minutes, you can have about 1,000 to 1,500 words when you're an expert. You know about your stuff, and you have a
Mm-hmm.
roadmap. And 1,500 words, that could be 4% of a book right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it, love it. Can you tell about editing? For example, I don't remember exactly where I took this information, but great offers usually have a lot of editors, like 5, 10 editors, sometimes 15 editors, a lot. Can you tell how to find these editors who can simplify your content, personalize content, to proofreading, and I don't know, provide any stuff that will keep readers longer to read your book?
Yeah, thank you. Anatoly, you always ask these good questions with lots of levels of answers, right?
Mhm.
you know, so so yeah, so if anybody who's listening, watching, or catching this in recording, if we end up doing some stuff together, I have editors that I work with who are wonderful, and for my clients, we do 4 editors as well because different
Mhm.
people bring different perspectives to the mix. Um, for me, I like to work very closely with my clients, not only to help them write the book, but to help them develop the content, right? Like the focus that I'm doing is, helping people create a business book that not only helps their business, but helps them to share their message, to tell their story, right? So
Mhm.
I want to be there to make sure, with the author to say, hey, is this really what your audience thinks? Is this really what they need? Is that how they talk about it, or is that how you talk about it? Right.
Mhm.
So those are all important considerations, kind of from the big picture. And then in terms of locating an editor, finding the right one for you, or right ones for you, what I would do is talk to a few different editors, talk to different publishers, of course, to see what kind of editors are available for the kind of book you're doing. But remember
Mhm.
to ask people that have already written their books, that have worked with editors already, to understand their experience and to see if the recommendation that they have or the person that they worked with would be right for you. Because even if somebody has an absolutely fantastic experience with this editor over here, you still need to make sure that you're connecting with the editor and that that editor understands you, understands the book, understands the purpose of your book, and is really going to be an ally for you in the way that you want them to be.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Trish is so active, and she shares about. By the way, I want to ask this question. Yeah, so good about using tools like Grammarly, Hemingway, many others, and real manual editing. How to find this balance between them? Because, for example, I when I give some draft to editors, they can give me I don't know, well-written content that tools don't understand. They usually shows many mistakes. I don't know why. Can you tell how to find this balance between editors and using tools like Grammarly or similar to them?
Yeah, thank you. So, for the folks that I work with, I tell them not to edit.
Mm-hmm.
Do not edit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to write a book fast, don't edit it, right? Wait till the editor can do the editing, right? Now, that does not mean that you don't want to take out, big chunks of content that aren't relevant from the book, right? Like, of course, you want to do content editing and make sure you're including all the important things, the right points, the right stories, the right examples, the right information. Like, yes, you want to edit the stuff, but as far as grammar and sentence structure and things like that, leave that to the editor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. Why not? If they are professionals, it's better to pay attention to context. Yeah, to provide some really valuable information. Okay, can you tell more about improving writing skills? For example, I usually write every single day, but sometimes I find excuses because I need to do other priorities. I know about that. Possible, I can write like Martin Eden, when he didn't search for any excuses on this famous book, Jack London. Yeah, from Jack London. And can you tell about how to improve writing skills for busy people like me?
Yeah, thank you. So that's a really, really great question as well. Thank you. Couple things. So first one I recommend for everybody, is read more fiction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Read more fiction, right? And then the question is, well, I'm very busy. Like I get that.
Uh-huh. Excuses.
Yeah, and I'm very busy too. But even if you just, 5, 10 minutes of reading fiction, like good authors, especially
Mhm.
people who write, mysteries or thrillers or things like that, because they're very good at taking you through a series of actions, right? Or they're very good at painting a picture for you
Mhm.
in very clear and direct language. So, a lot of my own writing skill has come from, I read a lot, right? I read all the time. So a lot
Uh-huh.
of it has come there. From there, though, I learned from, I guess, my very, very first coach quite a few years ago, a writing style that aligns with people's learning styles, and
Mhm.
which is a really, really great way. So, Anatoly, I'd be happy to share that, or I'll share the very quick version of that if that's okay for you.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Perfect, great. So this came originally from I believe it was a psychologist at Harvard University in the States, called David Kolb, Kolb. And I don't know a lot of Kolb's work, but I understand what I learned from my coach about
Mhm.
people having different kinds of learning styles, right? Like we all want to learn, or most of us want to learn things, right? And how we receive that information is a little bit different, right? So some people, it's most important to them to understand why. Why should
Mhm.
I read this book? Why should I watch this video? Why should I go out on a date with you, right?
Mhm.
Any of those kinds of things, very important. And some people, they want to know the why, but it's even more important for them to understand what. They want to know the
Mhm.
story, they want to know the context, they want to know the background. If there's science, if there's we interviewed 400 people and this is the data, right? Like they want to know the context and the pieces of information, story, etc., that support the why. Okay.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
and then there's some people who they want to know why, they want to know what, but they really, really want to know how. Like they want to know the
Mhm.
steps. They want to take action, right? Like how do I bake those cookies? They want to know. They want to know the steps, right? And then there are other
Mhm.
people, right? They want to know all three things, of course, because we all want to know all the things, but each little piece can be more important to one person or to another person, right? So
Mhm.
some people want to know what if, right? So what
Mhm.
happens? What if you put this into place in your life? What if you start writing your book? What if you start getting clients, right? Like those kinds of things. How is your life going to change? Or, if you start being a better communicator, imagine how your relationships will change. Imagine what happens with your children, with your boss, those kinds of things, right? So this what if helps the reader or the listener, but for the reader, right,
Mhm.
to imagine themselves in a future, in the future of possibility, right? If I do this, what's going to happen to me, right? So these four learning styles, right? We all want to hear all of them, and for some of us, the why is important, some the what, some the how, some the what if. So the way I recommend to people is make a list, right? Like let's say you're gonna sit down to write a blog post or a chapter of a book.
Mhm.
Write down why. Like why will the reader want to read this? What benefit
Mhm.
are they going to get? Why should they care? Right? Or
Mhm.
back to marketing, what's in it for me? Right? You want to
Mhm.
answer that question right away. Right? And then do the same thing for what? So what's the science? Is there science? Is there context? Is there a story? Is it from you working with, 400 clients and this is your understanding, whatever that is? Just make a bullet pointed list. Here's the important context for the reader to understand more deeply what you're telling them right now. Right? First
Mhm.
you said, "Hey reader, here's why you want to pay attention," right? And now here's some more detail and some context why you really want to pay attention, why this is so important to you. And this is also why if you don't take action, like either it's everything is going to stay, boring and normal and like blah, or things are going to get worse, right? So you need to help the reader understand that, not to be a jerk, but to understand their experience and let them know that you understand their experience as well, right?
Yeah.
And then you make some bullet points for how, right? For the steps. And you don't want 47 steps. Nobody wants 47 steps, right? Like 1 to 5 steps, right? It's just like, it's a blog post, it's a section of the book, right? So 1 to 5 steps, and sometimes, maybe more often than sometimes, the action step is literally the words, "To find out more, turn the page." Right?
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
action that you're giving to them. Super important. Tell them what to do, right? Help them consume the information, help them, contextualize what you're teaching them. And sometimes that's as simple as, "Hey, if you want more of this, check out chapter 7." Right? Very,
Mhm.
very important. And then the last part, again, putting the bullet points, right? What if? What's going to change in their life? What's going to change in their business? How is it going to get better? How many pounds are they going to lose? Are they going to
Yeah.
get married 5 years sooner? Like whatever that is for your audience, right? Not to make up stuff, nothing like that. Coming from the premise that you know your audience, you understand them, you've spoken to them, you've helped them already, but now you want to really make sure that even though you just taught them some stuff, that they now really, really see what's possible. So make it emotional, make it exciting. Like, imagine never having to work again in your life. Whatever that thing is.
Yeah, I like it that you mentioned about emotion. Let me share my rating of books. Not even rating, how I divide them. For example, books that are not written for me. I'm not interested about that. Yeah, because I have my own interests. It's not for me. The second part, boring books, but valuable content. Yeah, I need to read them. And the third part, I love reading. I can't stop reading because, yeah, if I start reading such books, I think that my mind is on this book. I can take part on the process. Can you tell how to write such books? Because I check out a few studies that only, if I remember correctly, like 5% of all books are read, and most books are skipped. When people start to read any books, they can forget about this book, skip it. Oh, it's boring, it's not interesting. Can you tell how to retain longer readers? To read the whole book, the entire book, because I know from my side, for example, when I can read like 6 hours without any stop, I can forget about water, about eating, anything, because I'm on this book. Yeah, tell how to do it.
Yeah, thank you. So many answers, right? Here we go again.
Yeah.
And thank you for the great questions. So coming back to know your audience, right?
Hmm.
Because when you're teaching them, telling stories about the topic that's most relevant to them, they're more likely to pay attention, right? So first and
Hmm.
foremost, know your audience, so you're writing the right stuff to the right people, right? The second part is make sure that at the beginning of the book and throughout the book, but especially at the beginning of the book, that your reader understands that you're an expert in whatever the topic is, right? You don't have to say, I am an expert, right? But you want to help them understand when you talk about your skills, when you talk about your experience helping clients, that they realize that you are an expert, that you know your stuff, but not only that you're an expert, you're a unique expert that's very well suited to them. So
Hmm.
that leads me into the last part of tell stories, share
Hmm.
stories, right? What are the kinds of stories that are going to be most relevant to your audience? Some will be stories about you, like you want to tell those stories so people get to know you and like you and trust you, right? And see you as an authority, all that marketing stuff, all those principles of influence from Robert Cialdini, right?
Hmm.
The knowing,
Yeah,
the
love it.
liking, the trusting. Yeah. So tell the stories. Tell stories about clients or people just like them who've had results, right?
Hmm.
Show them that it is possible, because one of the biggest mistakes that people make with books is that they put too much information in the book,
Hmm.
right? So your book is not a textbook unless you're writing a textbook, which is another story. But your book is
Uh-huh.
not a textbook. Your book is not for, for a class, for school, it's not a biology, you know, reference source, right? Your book is the the intention, if you will, the biggest goal is to help your reader shift their beliefs and perspectives into what's possible, right? You want to
Hmm.
show them that yes, you can achieve this outcome. Yes, you can overcome this challenge, because you did it at some point or you helped a bunch of other people do it, right? Like so many people, they put a whole bunch of information, and what happens, a couple of things. Sometimes people try to read it, it's too much information, they put it down. Like, I can't deal with it, it's too much, right? And then other times, people put in all this information, right? And I understand it, right? You want to give value, you want to help your people, but you help your people by putting less information in the book, right? Focus more on possibility, focus on, as they say in sales, overcoming their objections.
Hmm.
Show them that it is possible, right? Help them move from disempowering beliefs into empowering beliefs, right?
Hmm.
Because like I was saying before, all too much information, the other thing that can happen, it's like, oh my god, there's so much great information. Anatoly wrote such a great book. I now know all the answers. I don't need Anatoly's help, So
Yeah,
it's like, wait
got
a
it.
minute. Yeah, and that doesn't mean that we can't offer some value, right? Of course, we want to offer value in the book, but ultimately we want to we want to work with people. Like, of course, yes, like it's great to have clients, but if you even think more deeply about it, the biggest, most impactful transformation that you can make to someone is when they work with you for a longer time, right?
Hmm.
Like you can inspire them in the pages of a book, absolutely. But if you want long-term transformation, if you want to help them, have a six-figure business, if you want to help them, have the best SEO in town, right? Whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, you want them to come spend more time with you. So the book, is the beginning of the conversation, and the book primary goal, like I said, is to show them what's possible so they can take action that's good for them and good for you and hopefully good for everybody on the planet.
Yeah, love it, love it. Let's talk more about call to action. For example, if I write a new blog post, I can submit, buy from my site, get discounts, sign up to my newsletter. Yeah, many different things. What about books? How to submit call to action? Because companies wanna sell more. If they decided to write a book, they wanna get results from that. It's not only about selling this book on Amazon to get some revenue. It's more about selling their products or creating brand awareness. Can you tell how to submit this call to action in books? Because it's a big one. It's not like a blog post where you can add a paragraph with call to action. It's a big book. So, your experience about that?
Yeah, thank you. So really great question. So a couple of things that I do is almost at the beginning of my books, I have it's like a letter to the reader from me. I'm like,
Hmm.
dear reader, I'm really happy you're here. Right, I'm going to teach you and help you with a couple of these things, but of course, I can't help you with everything in the book. So please, come join my LinkedIn group, come join my Facebook group,
Hmm.
right? Whatever that kind of, or come go to my website and download, this very easy to use tool or something like that, right? So I have that right at the beginning of the book, and then periodically I have little sentences throughout the book. To find out
Hmm.
more about this, come visit my website, right? Because
Hmm.
we never know if people are going to read the book from the beginning, right? Maybe they
Hmm.
open it up, they go to the table of contents, and then suddenly they're over at chapter 7, right? So we don't know where they're going to go. We don't know how much they're going to read. So we want to have these calls to action, some a little bit more direct, some a little bit more subtle, sprinkled throughout the book.
Yeah, awesome. Yesterday, I read on Twitter a story. This was an interesting story because one famous SEO specialist, uh, she creates a lot of content about technical optimization, high quality content, valuable content, and she decided to write a book. Her first stage was to check out existing books on Amazon, and she found a book on Amazon from other well-known experts. It's interesting. Both of them spoke on my podcast, but now let me share the story. I don't want to mention their names, but and she found that this book on Amazon had her content. Uh, Almost everything, just AI written, rewritten content, and something like this. Uh, can you tell how to, for example, I don't know, if AI content or tools can rewrite content and Amazon doesn't understand about the legal issue that it's taken from other offers, how to protect your properties. I think if you write the book, it's your property. Yeah, you own this book. Can you tell how to save and protect that nobody will take this book, rewrite, and to sell to their audience?
Yep. So, this is an interesting one,
Yeah.
because chances are, whether it's a book or something on our website, somebody will steal your content at some point,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's just that is, unfortunately, that's very common. right, or
Mm-hmm.
common enough. So do as we say, do your due diligence, right? So
Mm-hmm.
make sure that your book is copyrighted. Make sure that if there's anything that you need to trademark, like the name of my business is trademarked, Influence with a Heart,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you do those kinds of of basic practices that are really important, because you want to be able to show Amazon, for example, like, look, I established this copyright 5 years ago, and this person just published the book 1 year ago, right? Those kinds of things. So you want to have examples to be able to show
Mm-hmm.
people. um,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are still maybe going to be some times where people steal your stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you
It's
can
internet. Yeah.
exactly.
Anything is
So
possible. Yeah.
yeah, so I think a big part of it is don't take it personally,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I mean that's easier to say than do. Be like, how could these people, like you get all mad and stuff. Believe me, I get it. It's happened to me as well. But don't don't spend a lot of time getting mad. Like, take a look and see. Okay, maybe that person copied your stuff, right? But no, they have one review on Amazon, from 2017, and nobody its ranking is like 10 million on Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time trying to like do something about? I mean, of course you want to do something, right? Have your attorney reach out to
Mm-hmm.
that person if there's a way to do that, but also keep it in perspective of the of course protect your property, your content, your intellectual property, do all the right things and kind of hold it lightly, right? Take it with a grain of salt. Like, is it going to impact you? Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not,
Yeah.
right? Like if let's say, I'm just going to make something up. Let's say somebody in China totally, ripped off my book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would suck. And, am I in competition with that person? Right? Probably not. And number two, if somebody stole my stuff, right, and reached a bunch of people in China and it helped make businesses and lives better,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually pretty cool. I'm not saying I
Love
want
it.
that to happen.
I like your reply. I love it. Because you remind me, Gary Vaynerchuk, when someone asked him what to do if others can steal content, and he replied, that means you create awesome content. If someone is stealing, yeah, you can provide something valuable. What you need to do to go ahead to provide more value, to share value, because you will be the first, and they just will be second, to share your content ideas. Love it. Yeah. I hope nobody will steal any stuff, but it's internet. We need to consider that it's possible to steal anything. So just move on, go ahead, find something else, yeah, to provide more value. I have the question about, once I read information about one book, when the author wrote awesome book, and she couldn't sell this book. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but not good sales. Then she changed the title of this book, and after that she sold 1 million copies. Can you tell how she didn't change anything on this book, even one word, just change the title? Can you tell how to write this title that people wanna read, wanna take it? Because from my experience, for example, if I need to read 100 books, I understand, yeah, I have time to read only 5 books, not 100, and I usually read titles. Yeah, I check out titles and understand, yeah, I take this book, it's my goal for this week. Can you tell about writing these titles?
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. So big surprise,
Yeah.
Anatoly. Um, what are the words that your audience is using? Right? How are
Mm-hmm.
they talking about their pains and challenges and things like that? Like, that's going to give a lot of information for your title, or a lot
Mm-hmm.
of, at least, possibility for your title, right? So if you have, let's say you're right. Let's say you're a chiropractor,
Mm-hmm.
and your people, really suffer from back pain, and you have the best answer ever for back pain, you know, the title could be something like, the best way to eliminate back pain ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's a pretty simple example, but right, we want to connect it to what our people want, right? So that's super
Mm-hmm.
important. You also want to think of the words that your people are using and the phrases that they're using, and then do a keyword and keyword phrase analysis, key phrase analysis on those kinds of words to see how people are searching, on Google, on Amazon for your topic, because that can inform the title of your book in a big way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then number three, so the title of my third book is something like 31 or 33 words long. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Influence with a Heart method, how to become or how to position yourself as an expert, authority, or thought leader by writing your book, so
Mm-hmm.
you can do more good for more people with your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
title, subtitle, second subtitle, right? I mean, you read that, it's like I name all of my avatars. I talk about why, I talk about the outcome, influence with a heart, which resonates with certain kinds of people, right? So I basically try to make it as clear as possible right on the cover of the book, so my best person can go, you know what? Let me open that up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't need to. So this is a little bit subtle, right? You don't need
Mm-hmm.
to have a title that is going to make sure that somebody reads a whole book. You just need a title that gets them to open up the book and start reading,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just get them
Yeah.
to look at it, right? Because once they start looking at it, then inside the book, then you work on getting them to turn the page, right? So
Yeah.
so so give yourself a little bit of spaciousness, really understand what your people need, find the best words and phrases for that, compare it to keywords and key phrases and search, what do you call search traffic, right? Anatoly, you're the master at that stuff, right? And then from there, let that inform what you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm only a student, at anything that I do, because I think you can't achieve the best, the highest level, but I can climb, to this mountain, trying to get it. I have the question about, for example, if someone wanna be an expert like you, by writing books, by editing them, by teaching how to write awesome books. For example, if you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, what will you do to learn more about that and to speak on Stanford in one day or any other universities on Sydney? Tell our audience how to do it.
Yeah. I would. The first thing I would do is I would think about, what am I good at?
Mm-hmm.
What do I have skills for to do? Skills and experience. Um, what are people looking for? Right? Like, what do people really need? Because they're already looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
um, and is this something that I love doing, or at least I like it enough to do it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So because if I know what if I know what the thing is, right, how I can help people already, or how I can potentially help people in the future, then I'm going to start talking to those kinds of people,
Mm-hmm.
understanding what are their biggest challenges today, right now, biggest fears, biggest frustrations, biggest goals, right? And then I'm going to look at those things and I'm going to say, okay, well, if these are the challenges and goals and dreams of these people, here's what I do. Can I connect the dots to these things? And then I would work on just getting the first client, one client,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as somebody pays money, then you know you're on to something.
Yeah, yeah. I have the final question, but can
Sure.
can you tell about the future of writing books? Because we have today AI tools, they can't replace great authors. Possible, I'm not sure. Possible, AI tools can replace mediocre writers just to create generic content, but they can't replace great authors. Can you tell what about the future? Do we need to improve our skills today because in the future AI tools might be replace us? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, I don't worry a lot about the future
Hmm.
personally, because in my experience that even with AI, even with digital, even with the internet, sooner or later things come back to person connections and
Hmm.
relationships. And I know
Hmm.
that, you know, we can make an argument, well, Ben, what about this? And well, Ben, what about this? Sure, I can't speak to everything, but I'm looking at my world and I'm looking at how I want to be in the world. Like I don't want to worry about the future. Right? I want to prepare for the future, but I don't want to worry about it, right? So
Hmm.
so for me, I would keep focusing on what do my people need, right? What do my best potential clients need? Because I keep talking to them about what they
Hmm.
need, right? And then I keep creating content based on my understanding of what they need and what they
Hmm.
want and why they want it, right? And, if an AI tool can help me deliver that message a little bit better, sure, I'll use an AI tool to help me. But, I'm not going to worry too much because I know, at least my business model, that, the clients I get come from one-on-one conversations,
Hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not selling on a big scale because I don't want to. I,
Hmm. Yeah.
I like this, right? And I want to do more of this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think, guys, you are not in dangerous if you want to improve your writing skills because any process takes time. Even today, we can see that people are reading books. If the process will be decreasing, it takes time, like 5, 10 years, to decrease a little bit. So AI tools can't replace great offers. It's my opinion. I don't know. We will see. But I think they can't replace emotions. They can't replace our real thinking about many things. They just can rewrite existing content. What I can see today, and even if you believe that AI tools can develop and innovate something, they can't replace emotions. It's my opinion. I don't know. Ben, it's a big pleasure to get in my show to learn from you. You always share a lot of, well, you can you tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you?
Thank you very much. Yeah. So, Anatoly, first of all, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure as well. Happy to be here. Happy to share. So, if anybody wants to chat with me, I
Hmm.
know some people just like, I just want to talk to you and ask you a question. Happy to do that. Influencewithaheart.com/chat.
Hmm.
Influencewithaheart.com/chat. And then if you don't want to talk to me yet and you want to check out my stuff, that's okay. Do your thing.
Hmm.
I have a wonderful tool that can help you get testimonials for your business. So it's a set of templates. If you go to
Hmm.
bookreviews.cc, once again, bookreviews.cc, you can get that template, and then you'll be on my email list, get communications from me, and
Hmm.
yeah. So either reach out to me like that or sign up for that amazing tool, and it would be my pleasure and honor to support you.
Guys, you need to do it. Follow Ben, learn from him, sign up to his tool, yeah, because you can see a lot of valuable stuff, yeah. So if you wanna grow to find another level, to take this level, you need to do it. Okay, guys, you can find all these links in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again, Ben. A big pleasure. Welcome back anytime. Yeah, I love learning from you. I think everyone loves learning from you, and see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.